After my meeting with Adam, I decided to try and make some basic assets to put into the game. So I started off by making a shop. I thought if I do this, then at least that way I can get a sense of how hexels work, as that's the program he recommended to me. And I can try and get a feel for how I'm going to make everything else look as well. So the first thing I did was look up some isometric stores just to get an idea of how I should do it. What sort of art style I should go for, what sort of elements I need to include to make sure it actually looks like a store, a little bit of a colour palette as well, that way I can just get a basic understanding. So once I'd got some reference images, I then opened up Hexels and began drawing. Hexels is actually incredibly easy to pick up, and it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be. After learning programs such as After Effects and Photoshop, I thought, oh no, here's another complex program that's going to take me like 2 months to learn how to use. But it doesn't, which is really good. So once I began drawing, it was a pretty simple process. I think learning from this one, I can see quite clearly like what I've done right, what I've done wrong, and the sort of style I want to go for. This one to me is very, I don't know how to explain it, it's just not very my style. I don't like the shading around the windows. I think that it's far on the wrong side, as well as the highlight as well. So I just need to try and find a different way to do it, but at least now, judging from this, I know what I can do next time, what I can do better. So once I'd got the shop down, I then began working on road assets, ignoring these crossing ones because I didn't work on them first, I actually did them afterwards. So these were the very first road assets that I created, and once again it was just just help me learn how to use hexels, what sort of style I'm going for. I really didn't like these. They remind me a lot of Crossy Road, which is a game that I just don't want my game to be associated with, as it is similar style art, so I want mine to be very different from that, but it did give me a general understanding of shading, placement and layering. So from this, it has been a learning experience. I think for now the assets I've created are far too blocky, and the scale is so small that it's going to be really hard to work with, and that I think that my assets will end up layering and covering up each other too much, so I need to find a way to make it flatter. Judging from everything else so far, I think that the asset creation, once it is in Hexels, is going to be super easy for me. It's just a case of trying to sort everything else out. But yeah, I think I'm getting there. But now that I've got these basic ones, I can now put them into Unity and at least then try and get something out of them. So the crossing, I tried to get right, but it just wouldn't fit in the scene, so I ended up giving up eventually. But yeah, now hopefully we can start creating others. This is just some time lapses of the newer assets that I made, and they look much better compared to the older ones. A lot less blocky, and I think that they will fit quite nicely and are a good scale size to work with.